Good morning. Did everybody have a good Christmas? Hope you did. My family had a really nice weekend, long weekend, Christmas Eve, all that good stuff. Spent a lot of time with family, and kids are excited. They got lots of cool presents, good stuff. So we are back at it here this week. Might be a little bit slow today, but we'll see. We got some slushy rain last night. Fair amount of rain, I think. It looked like it rained quite a bit, but we got this little muddy slush stuff here. Anyway, the guys down at my house need some more water, so I gotta get the 7520 out with the fork so we can grab that water tank and bring it down here and get it filled up for them. Bit of a tight squeeze there, but we made it. I don't think I hit the backhoe or Dad's truck. Good deal. Still getting some rain, I guess. Dad's one of his routers is not working or making a noise. His front bearing is bad, so I'm trying to help him get it tore apart. We're customizing wrenches over there, making it skinny so it'll fit on there, and we can try and turn this off. Well, got it apart. This bearing here is a little rough, and when stuff spins at however many thousand RPMs that spins at, well, it gets a little wobbly and rough. So Dad's gonna go see if he can find a bearing. Oh yeah, here's the Christmas present that I got for Dad. Carbide saw blade sharpener for circular saw blades and table saws and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's any good or not, but it'll work. All right, well, since I don't have a ton of stuff to do today, I thought I'd spend a little bit of time here this morning talking about planning for next year. So I did a kind of a yield recap video a week or two ago there, and we talked about 21 and that it was a pretty profitable year. We were able to buy our inputs a year ago reasonably before the grain markets really took off. And then grain prices went up, and that was really good, and we had good crops on top of that. So from a profitability standpoint, 21 turned out really well. 22 crop year, however, is shaping up very, very different at the moment. So fortunately, grain prices are still relatively high. In fact, let me look that up right now and see where we're at just right now today. Okay, so I just looked up the grain markets here a little bit. So corn, and this is at our local place that's only about 12 miles from here, we take a lot of stuff there in the fall. We don't take a lot in the winter because we usually go to an ethanol plant that's a little farther away that usually has a better price. But I'm just going to use the local one right now. So, and I'll tell you the futures price. So current cash price right now, if we want to take a load of stuff out of our bin and sell a load of corn right now, the futures price is $6.14. That's pretty good. That's really good, in fact. Now, we have a local 18-cent basis, which means they take 18 cents off of that to come up with a cash price of $5.97. $5.97 is really good, actually. That's a really good price. Now, I could sell some in February here for $6.01. So they're paying about 4 cents to store it, which is not very much. But new crop, which now would be the 22 crop because 21 is considered the old crop. So new crop for fall delivery, October, November. Futures price is $5.57. They have a negative 30-cent basis, so we can get $5.27 cash price right now. Now we could sell the futures price at $5.57 and then set the basis later if we think that it will get better. We could sell the cash price right now, or we could just lock in the basis and not the futures price, but that's a whole nother story on marketing side of stuff. So point being, the grain markets for next year, while still really good at $5.27, it's not as good as what we can get for the old crop stuff right now at closer to $6 or over $6. And then let's look at soybeans. Current cash price on beans is $13.41, which was up 30 today. Futures is $13.62, so there's a 22-cent basis there. Both really good prices, really, really good prices. New crop, September, October delivery, fall delivery of 22 crop is at $12.32, so over $1 difference in a bushel of soybeans. And so while that price is going to fluctuate, we'll have opportunities probably up and down from there between now and when we actually have to sell that crop. We're already starting off $1 below this year's numbers, and the input side of it, and this is where it gets really sketchy, is that our inputs are astronomically higher than what we paid a year ago. So let me look some stuff up and I'll give you a few examples. Okay, so a couple of examples of costs and how they have changed from one year to the next. So 1034.0. So 1034.0 is the starter base of my starter blend and what I use to make the blend for the starter fertilizer that we put on with our corn, right? And last year I had a price of $435 per ton for 1034.0. I have not actually gotten a price from my suppliers, but I have heard through the rumor mill from other suppliers that that price is pushing $1,000 a ton, more than doubled what it was from last year. Anhydrous. So anhydrous ammonia, NH3, is what we use for most of the nitrogen on our corn. Last year we paid $480 a ton. The price I got from our supplier a week and a half ago was $1,527. That is over 3 times the cost. And so while 21 was really profitable because we were able to lock in low cost and high prices, the low cost option is gone. There is no deals to be had on fertilizer or any of that stuff. Even on our seed costs, which, I mean, we buy everything through Golden Harvest that I am selling and buying and stuff and making those decisions. It's up some. Seed cost is the one thing that hasn't changed drastically, but our seed costs are still up because I've switched some hybrids and planting a lot of newer stuff and different than we did last year in the hybrids and stuff. And so we're probably up $15 to $20 a bag on the corn over what we were a year ago, which 15, let's call it 20, divided by 2.5. That's $8 an acre right there, which isn't a tremendous huge hit, but that all adds up, right? They're all dollars. And so we're really struggling right now with some of these decisions. And the thing about growing multiple crops is that we have some flexibility in what we plant and how we decide to do that. And I typically would say, whenever it's trending one way and all of the other farmers or all your neighbors are doing one thing, do the opposite, and that's how you come out ahead, right? So this year it looks like guys are going to plant a lot of beans. Beans are cheaper to grow. They don't require as much fertilizer. The seed is cheaper. The chemical programs are generally cheaper, a little bit cheaper from a herbicide standpoint. But the big one is the fertility cost. You don't have to put that $1,500 a ton anhydrous on, and they don't require as much phosphorus and potassium, although they still do, and you still need to put it on, but you can get away and grow a decent soybean crop without having to do all of that. And so we can just plant more beans. But like I said, generally you kind of want to do the opposite, because if everybody plants more beans next year, then the price of beans is going to go down and the price of corn should go up, or relative to one another. And the other thing is, who knows what our weather's going to be. That's kind of the big variable that we have sitting out there, right? We had really good yields this year, but are we going to next year? I don't know. It's possible that we have good yields 2 years in a row, but it's not guaranteed. And so if we have, subpar yields with high inputs, even with high prices, it's a break even at best kind of year. We don't make money with that. If we have lower than average yields, high prices, and the price of corn tanks between now and when we sell it, then we're really screwed and we lose money. Who knows? But the fertilizer and the chemicals are the two big variables that are unknown right now. We've got our seed costs pretty well locked in. All of the kind of incidental variable costs, our fuel, our propane, our those kind of expenses, I'm sure insurance, all that stuff is going to go up and be higher as well. But those are relatively minor costs, so they still have to be accounted for and they still have to be figured in. But it's
they're just minor compared to the fertilizer and land cost, right? So that's one I haven't talked about, and I don't talk about a lot, but we rent a lot of our ground, and when a lot of the landlords will see high prices and stuff, and then the general consensus across the country when you read the farm magazines and the online forums and all that stuff is that the rent should be higher and stuff. And while that's probably true, and we do try and be proactive and give our landlords a little bit more, they don't ever want to take less when the price comes back down. And so we kind of have taken a conservative approach to that, where we're not paying the highest rents in the area. Probably not. I don't know. We're not going to get into that in detail, but we don't ever come down. And so we've tried really hard to build up very good relationships with our landlords so that they're happy with us and that we do a good job and everybody is happy and we pay them what is fair. And when we have that ability to increase the rents a little bit from time to time, we do so. So land costs, yep, they're going to be up a little bit, not drastically. But seed costs, or fertilizer costs and chemical costs. And this fertilizer is it's the one that's sitting out there that really bothers me right now. Like, how do we compensate for that? And what do we do? So, this year we didn't get all our wheat planted that we normally would. I think we ended up planting around 350 acres, maybe 375, but some of that's probably not going to be very good. Normally, or we intended to plant like 475, something like that. So we're at least 100 acres short, maybe more. Any other year, I would say it's a no-brainer. Plant corn, right? Those fields were beans last year. They should be corn next year, so plant corn there. Well, that's a little harder to decide this year. With the high inputs on corn, I don't know if we want to plant more corn. And so, I don't know. We're trending towards planting more beans, but I haven't made that decision entirely yet, just because I hate to get all skewed one direction or another, because what happens if we have a bad bean year next year, but our corn is really good? Like, then we've kind of screwed ourselves right from the get-go. So, in my opinion, the best bet is to kind of stay the course. You can skew a little bit one way or another, but don't make major changes from one year to the next, because you're just trying to outguess the markets, and that's a fool's errand, in my opinion. You're not going to do it, so don't even try. So anyway, just to wrap that kind of discussion up, and if you guys have questions, leave them down below. But I get asked a few times about, what have you done with fertilizer, or what are you thinking on this and stuff? And to be quite honest, I don't know. We have not locked in our nitrogen costs for next year. I have not locked in our starter. We have nothing bought. I'm kind of the opinion that things can't go any higher. So, all right, so this is going to get longer than I want it to. But why are prices high, right? Oh, and here's another example of something that's gone way up. So Liberty is a herbicide that we can use in beans. Can use it in corn too. We use a little bit in beans. We haven't used a lot of it. But last year I bought Liberty for, let me find it, right here on this page. Liberty, $29.90 a gallon. I have heard right now that if you want to buy it, you have to pay for it now, and it's going to cost you around $90. The use rate on it is about a quart to the acre. Last year it cost me $7.48 an acre. 90 divided by 4 is $22.50. That is just a massive increase in stuff. And so why is the price so much higher? Well, they claim it's a shortage and they can't manufacture it fast enough, or they can't get it. And there may be some truth to that with some materials coming from China or whatever. But let's be honest, it's high because the price of corn is high, right? And the price of beans is high, and they can. Same thing with the nitrogen costs. It is because it can be, because they think people will pay for it. But how much higher can it go? In my opinion, $1,500 a ton anhydrous is knocking on the limit, because if it goes any higher, guys will just plant beans. And so the higher that price goes, the more elastic the demand gets. The less people are going to buy. To a certain point, people are just, all right, we're going to buy it because we can't grow corn without nitrogen. We got to buy it. We got to buy it. We got to buy it. Well, and then you hit this level, and all of a sudden, nope, we don't have to buy it. We'll just plant beans instead. And it changes that outlook quite a bit. And so we've kind of taken the approach of can't go up. If it goes up, we won't buy it. We'll do something different. And so we haven't bought any, and there's no reason to prepay. I mean, Dad and I were figuring it out the other day. I think we need about 140 tons of anhydrous times 1,500. You're looking at over $200,000 just for our nitrogen cost. Like, that's outrageous. Like, last year, that would have been $67,000. That's $140,000 difference. Like, where's that come from, right? And so when you start figuring this out on a more macro scale and not a micro per acre basis, the numbers really add up. And I don't know. We're in no hurry to lock in high price nitrogen. I have a little bit of a theory that as we get through the spring pre-plant season and get into the side dress and towards the tail end, that maybe the prices will start to come down. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have good advice for you. If you're a farmer out there trying to come to me saying, what do I do? I don't know. I don't have a good option. 28 that we use on our wheat is the similar thing. Last year we paid 167. Last price I got was in the 570s a ton. And so it's the same thing, right? 570 divided by 167, almost 3.5 times more expensive. We only use that on our wheat. I'm glad that I didn't buy it and have high price stuff in the tank, because we would have bought enough for all of the wheat acres that we intended to plant. We didn't get them planted, so we aren't going to need as much 28 next year as what we would have initially. And if we tear some wheat out, we need even less of it. So it's good that I don't have extra high price stuff sitting in the tanks, but I'm still going to need some. So yeah, we're struggling with that decision just as much as anybody. This doesn't even include the used equipment market or the new equipment market for that matter. We've been kicking around some ideas of some stuff, and everything is so ridiculously high priced right now. I don't know that we're going to do anything because it just doesn't make sense. And so we're trying to figure it out just like everybody else, and it's not an easy call here. So anyway, let's get back to work. So one of the things that I really need to do to help figure all this out is figure out some crop budgets. My Uncle Ron has done some in the past, and so he's got some templates where we can put in our costs, right? What is our seed cost? What is our land cost? What is our fertilizer cost? What is our chemical cost? All of that stuff. What is our expected yield? What is the expected price? If we sold some today, what would the price be? That kind of stuff. And it'll spit out a yield or a profitability calculator and tell us, is this profitable numbers or not, and all of that. So that's something that we can do to kind of help figure out, can we afford to pay $1,500 a ton for anhydrous? Does that still make sense, even though it is ridiculously high or not? But anyway, moving on. All right, well, Dad went to go get a bearing, and they didn't have one, so we ordered it. It'll be in tomorrow to finish fixing that router, so he's messing around with stuff there in the shop. I need to get some cabinet hardware knobs for the cabinets in our house, so I'm going to run to Lowe's to do that. My wife and I went last week one day and got stuff and bought all that they had, and we need to go to another store to get the rest. So I'm going. Anna's going with me. Say hi.
Hello.
And so we'll be back later this afternoon to find something else to work on. Okay, I'm back. We got what I needed. I want to get the kiln room here, and we got all kinds of stuff out here that's for my house. So hardwood flooring is under there. Stair treads. We've got some more walnut boards for whatever I need them for. We've got some that are 3/4 tongue and groove stuff. Yeah, so I want to start working on these stair treads and seeing what I need to do to finish them. So I'm going to get a few of them out, get them sanded down, maybe rip them to width, or to, this width, and we'll see. We'll go from there. So I went and got 4 of those treads out here, and I'm kind of looking at them, trying to figure out which side we want to use. Like this one here has got a little bit of the sapwood on both sides, just a little bit here. We've got a knot right here that I'd kind of like to work around if we can. Problem is, if I flip it over, it's a smoother board, but we've got a lot more of the sapwood. And so I'm hoping that maybe on the bottom flight of steps where it's got walls on both sides, it's a little bit narrower. Maybe we can cut this one off right before where these little
imperfections are and holes and stuff there. We can fill them in if we need to, but so I think this will be the top of this one. And this is a beautiful board here that's clear on both sides. And you can pretty much choose. I think maybe this side's the better side. I don't know, I'll look at it a little bit more. We got a little gray sapwood on that end there, but that's not too bad. This one has a fair bit of the sapwood, but it's worse on this side, and we've even got a little bit of bark there that's going to have to get trimmed off. So that one for sure, this is the top. We'll put it towards the bottom where it's not as visible. And then we've got another beautiful one right here that could go either way, but this side is a little bit smoother. So we'll use this as the top. So I want to go down to the house and actually do some measuring on those stairs and see, maybe I can rip them to width now before I finish them. That sander is still down there, so I can bring that back. We need to sand these. What I would like to do is run one side of the board through the joiner. It'll be the front edge, and then we can rip them to width with a little 5-degree bevel on the back edge, and then that'll be done. And then I can finish them. We'll trim them to length once we get to the house and we're ready to measure them. I can use that stair gauge and stuff. So it's kind of what I'm thinking right now. And we'll get these ready to put in. I don't know. I think they're ready, that we could actually put them in the house if we wanted to right now. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get them all ready to go and get them laid. But let's get it done, right? Measurements. I have lots of measurements, and there's way more variation than there should be. But it's okay. There was only one step that was really bad, and it's step 12. But we'll be all right. All right. Well, here are all of the stair treads that we've got. So I'm going to go through and kind of, I've picked the top side of all of them, the better of the two sides. Now I'm going to go through and kind of grade them, I guess you would say. Sort them by which ones I feel like are the nicest. Like, this one here is a really nice board. This one is a really nice board. That one is a really nice board. That one's pretty good. That one's got a couple of knots, but it's clear other than that. This one here is really nice. So I'm gonna try to pick out the ones that we want to be the most visible, aka the top steps, and then we'll put some of the other ones that have a lot of the sapwood, or maybe that one with all the knots, down towards the bottom where they aren't quite so visible. Okay, so the top flight of steps is 6 steps. I have 8 pretty good treads up there. I can tell you right now that this one, of course, this little edge here is no big deal. We can trim that off, and a little bit over here. So that one's actually pretty good. That one, probably the lowest of these ones here. Can see a little splotchiness here. That just needs sanded off. I think that's just a little glue, so we can clean that up pretty easily. And it's not that any of these are really bad. In fact, this one here's got some really cool with this face grain here. It'll look really nice, especially stained up, but it's just that extra color variation that I don't think my wife cares for. And this one's got a little gray streak in it there, so we'll just hide those towards the bottom. So I'm trimming these to width now, and you can see a lot of that sapwood is getting cut off. So they're going to look better than what I had initially laid out there, just because we're cutting a lot of the stuff that we didn't like off. And then this is what we're left with, and we've just got a little tiny sliver of it right there. That's going to go against the back. This will likely get cut off when we trim the length. In fact, we'll probably cut this whole knot off. And then you got a nice clear walnut stair tread. So here's what my bottom ones look like now. It's really just this one that's going to have a fair bit of the lighter wood in it. And then we've got a little bit in that's going to be in this one, but we're going to trim a bunch of that off yet too. So these are going to be just gorgeous. So what I'm doing is running them through the joiner. We're squaring up what's going to be the front edge, be that edge of all these boards. And then I'm running them through the table saw. We are putting that little 5-degree bevel on. See, it's just a little bit of an angle there. There you can see it better when you look at the end. See how this one is angled just a little bit. It creates a little gap. That's a glue pocket for our adhesive to hold them together. You can see some of them. We've got this split here. This one's about the worst, but these were all one solid piece. We ripped them in half and then biscuited and glued them back together to kind of relieve some of the internal stress so they don't crack later. This one here had quite a bit in it, and it sort of pulled that joint apart, and you're not going to get that back together. What we will probably do is mix up some glue and sawdust and fill that in, but we'll wait until well, maybe I won't wait. I was going to say we'll wait until we install them because I know how much I can trim off of this, but I'm going to finish them first. I'm going to need to fill that in, aren't I? Last one. I guess if I screwed one up, I can glue all my cutoffs together and make a new step. And these are going to be gorgeous. Oh, I'm so excited about this. All right, I am ready to start sanding them down, I think. I want to go through and make sure I double check all my labels and everything's labeled correctly. I kind of did this first one where I wrote a big number 1, circled it, and drew an arrow and a F for the front so that everything is easy when I put it back together on the bottom side here. So I'm gonna go through and do that to the rest, and then I want to sand them. I do need to fix a few of these imperfections. Like I said, mix up some glue and sawdust and put it in there, but I need some dust, and we're gonna get dust from the sander, so we're gonna sand everything down. It's got a little collection bag on it that it'll collect that sawdust, and it'll be the right powder and then, or the right color, real fine powder, and then we can mix that up with some glue and shove it in those knots and cracks, and it should dry, and then you can it'll all be the right color. You won't notice it. Okay, nice and smooth and sanded and beautiful, and most of them you cannot even tell that they were ripped in half. Like, you can't see the line at all unless you look at the end, but these boards are all right. Dad is working upstairs in the mow cleaning some stuff up. I'm kind of curious, so let's go check it out. Cleaning. Had a leak in had to put some plastic over his window. Cleaning up, sorting boards. We got all kinds of stuff up here. Okay, well, next up here is mixing up my glue to fill in this kind of stuff. So I might do that in a little bit. What time is it? 4:30. I should do it tonight and let them dry so that I can sand them again and start staining tomorrow. So we have had a 1/2 inch of rain over the course of last night and today, or maybe a little more now. So I don't know if any more tillage is likely to happen or not. It is supposed to get cold a week from now, like next Sunday night, Monday morning, a week from now. 13 degrees. So that'll freeze stuff up, probably too hard to be able to do any tillage, but maybe there'll be an opportunity in there to do a little bit more if we want to. So sometime this week we might have to fix the disc. I got that bearing out, remember? All right, well, I didn't get the boards glued up like I should have wanted to, but oh well. Thanks for watching today, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Brock is coming tomorrow at 11, so I'm gonna work on those boards in the morning a little bit, and then when he gets there, we're gonna start working on the combine. We're gonna do all the service stuff that I was gonna do last week before we figured we could do tillage. So oil change, filters, all that stuff. Day 1 of shop work starts tomorrow, so if you enjoy that kind of stuff, make sure you check it out. So see you guys again in the morning. Hit that like and subscribe button for me if you would, please. We're almost to the end of the year and I'm still not at 20,000. Just saying. Not gonna get there if you guys don't subscribe. So no, appreciate all of you, and we'll see you again in the morning.
Are you excited for
Good morning, bud.
Santa was pretty quiet.
He was pretty quiet?
You didn't even hear him last night? His jingle bells? Look, he ate his cookies.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Another airplane. Are mine all going fast?
Yeah, they all go fast. Look at all those airplanes you got.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wow.
I got 6 airplanes.
Yay! That's awesome.